In a quiet corner of Texas, a deal was made, a soul for a cure. The deal was broken. Some places are just buildings, wood, nails, and concrete. But other places are different. They hold on to things, memories, tragedies. They have a history written in blood and tears, and sometimes that history refuses to stay buried. Today, we're exploring 5 locations across the massive state of Texas. These are places that have been turned into commercial scare attractions or have become legendary paranormal hotspots, where their foundations are built on something much, much realer. We're not just talking about campfire stories. We're digging into the troubling histories and dark legends that have turned these spots into icons of the supernatural. So, turn down the lights and get ready to question what happens when the show is over and the real ghosts come out to play. Coming in at number 5 on our list is a location that proves sometimes the most ordinary places hide the darkest secrets. We're heading to Amarillo and to the former site of the Jackson Square apartments. From the outside, it just looked like any other apartment building. Built in 1926, it started its life as the respectable Palo Duro Apartments. But over the decades, the building began to decay. Its name changed to Jackson Square, and its reputation soured. It became known as a magnet for crime and a stage for violence, so much so that the building was eventually deemed too dangerous and was demolished in 2015. Because of its grim reputation, the building became a breeding ground for terrifying urban legends. Before it was even torn down, local lore about paranormal activity was running rampant. People who dared to enter told a chilling catalog of horrors. The most persistent legend was about the second floor, where it was said a man had been stabbed to death. People claimed bloodstains would spontaneously appear on the floor, accompanied by a menacing, shadowy figure that haunted the corridor. Other stories from trespassers told of seeing the spectral image of a pregnant woman falling from a third-floor window, only to vanish just before hitting the ground. Perhaps most terrifying were the tales from the upper floors, where people claimed to have seen the full-bodied apparition of a man hanging from a noose. Whether fact or folklore, the sheer volume of tragedy associated with Jackson Square seemed to tear a hole in the fabric of reality, turning a simple apartment building into a container for decades of pain and violence. Though the building is gone, the stories ensure its ghosts will never be forgotten. Our number 4 spot takes us from a modern ruin to a place of silent, sterile suffering. We're going to Yorktown, Texas, to an abandoned building that has become a legend in the paranormal community, the Yorktown Memorial Hospital. Opened in 1950, this 30,000-square-foot hospital was run by the Felician Sisters, an order of Catholic nuns. For over 3 decades, it served the community, but it was a place of immense sorrow. It's rumored that over 2,000 people died within its walls before it was finally shut down in the 1980s, leaving a legacy of pain and countless stories of malpractice and neglect. Today, the abandoned hospital is considered one of the most active paranormal hotspots in Texas. The spirits here aren't exactly friendly. Investigators and visitors report it being physically scratched and pushed by unseen forces, particularly on the second floor, which used to be the nuns' living quarters. The legend goes that the spirits of the nuns are still on patrol, and they get especially aggressive with men who have tattoos. In the basement, a story is told of a gruesome murder-suicide that took place in the boiler room, leaving a stain of dark, violent energy. One of the most tragic spirits is said to be a man named TJ, an addict who came to the hospital's back door seeking help. The buzzer was broken, no one heard it, and he was found dead on the stoop the next morning. His spirit is now said to haunt that very entrance. In the chapel, people have reported hearing phantom organ music and seeing a malevolent shadow figure in the pews. And the current owner of the property reportedly refuses to even step foot inside the building alone. The sheer number of spirits and the weight of suffering make Yorktown Memorial a truly terrifying location. The stories from Yorktown are incredibly heavy, and they really make you think about the energy a place can hold, especially one that saw so much tragedy. If you're finding these deep dives into Texas's dark history as compelling as we are, please hit that subscribe button. We read every single comment, and your support is what allows us to bring these forgotten histories to light. We have so many more locations to explore, and we want you right there with us. For number 3, we're heading south of Houston to Rogeron, Texas, to a place that has been voted the scariest haunted attraction in the state, Creepy Hollow Haunted House. Unlike the other locations on our list so far, Creepy Hollow fully embraces its role as a commercial haunt. But what makes it so unsettling is how it blurs the line between fiction and a frightening what if. The core of Creepy Hollow is a full-blown horror movie concept. It revolves around the Nouveau Genesis Corporation, a shady research company that supposedly conducted viral genetic experiments on this very land. The main attraction, the 288 Scare Factory, is set up as ground zero for a zombie apocalypse after those experiments went horribly wrong. The second haunt, the Dark Woods, builds on that story. As the legend goes, the factory's caretaker dumped barrel of chemical waste into the woods, mutating the poor souls who lived there into flesh-eating monsters. The legend even says the caretaker himself had an accident with the waste and now stalks the woods with burned skin. The final attraction, Pitch Black, is supposedly the holding area for the most aggressive human test subjects, who become killing machines in total darkness. What makes Creepy Hollow so effective is its dedication to this story. It's a full-contact haunt, meaning the actors can and will touch you, which adds a whole other layer of fear. While the story of Nouveau Genesis might be made up, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, walking through a decaying factory with mutated creatures lunging at you, that horrifying story feels disturbingly plausible. Coming in at the number 2 spot is a location that paranormal investigators across the country talk about in hushed, serious tones. We're going to Mineral Wells, Texas, to a small, unassuming building that sits in the shadow of the infamous Baker Hotel, the Haunted Hill House. This isn't a place with special effects or seasonal actors. This is a house with a genuine, dark, and sordid history that is active all year round. Many people who try to spend the night don't make it. Built in the late 1800s, the house has worn many faces, but its most notorious chapter was its time as a brothel. It catered to the wealthy patrons visiting the nearby Baker Hotel for its famous healing mineral waters. This era is the source of the house's darkest legends, with whispers of murders, tragic deaths, and even occult rituals taking place within its walls. The spiritual residue left behind is intense and, according to many, incredibly aggressive. The house is considered a hotbed of paranormal activity. One of the most frequently encountered spirits is believed to be a young boy named Joshua, who may have been the son of one of the workers and is said to have died there. But not all the spirits are playful. People have been told to get out by crystal-clear, disembodied voices. And there's a room known as the Scratch Room, where multiple guests have left with unexplained scratches on their skin. The energy in the Hill House is reportedly so draining and oppressive that even professional paranormal teams have fled in the middle of the night. The current owner admits she refuses to go upstairs, where the most active and possibly non-human entity, nicknamed Toby, is said to reside. The Haunted Hill House is a grim reminder that when a place is soaked in decades of misery and sin, the stains don't always wash out. And now our number 1 spot. We've seen violence, mystery, and sordid histories. And our final location combines sheer scale with a horrifyingly authentic foundation of death. We're going to Fort Worth, to a district once known as Hell's Half Acre, and to the cutting-edge haunted house. This place holds the Guinness World Record for the world's largest walk-through haunted house, and it consistently ranks as one of the best haunts in the country, earning the spot for 25 by both USA Today and Haunt World. But what makes it truly terrifying isn't just its size, it's the building itself. Cutting Edge is located inside a 100-year-old abandoned meatpacking plant from 1908. This area, Hell's Half Acre, was notorious for its saloons and gunfights, a rough part of the Old West. The ground itself is steeped in a history of violence. The creators of Cutting Edge did something brilliant. They didn't just build a haunt inside the plant. They incorporated the plant's original, century-old meat processing equipment into the attraction. The whole experience is staged as a human processing area. You'll see realistic mannequins hoisted on meat hooks, carried along the two-story conveyor system, and run through the entire gruesome process. The echoes of the plant's real purpose are an active, clanking, and grinding part of the horror. Paranormal claims here are tied directly to this overwhelming atmosphere of industrial slaughter. For decades, this building was a place of constant, daily death, and that energy is said to have left a permanent psychic stain. Visitors and staff report an oppressive feeling of being watched and hearing whispers that seem to echo from a time when the building was filled with the sounds of its grim work. As you walk past real, rusting equipment that has seen a century of death, the line between a haunted attraction and a genuinely haunted location becomes terrifyingly blurred. From an apartment complex whose dark reputation spawned urban legends, to a meatpacking plant that turned its machinery of death into an attraction, Texas is filled with places where tragedy has left a permanent mark. Whether you're a die-hard believer or a firm skeptic, the one thing that's undeniable is the dark, powerful, and very real history these locations are built on. The stories of violence, suffering, and mystery are rooted in these places. And it's that truth that makes the whispers in the dark so much more terrifying. The echoes of tragedy linger, and sometimes, and you listen closely enough, they seem to answer back. What do you think? Have you ever visited one of these locations and felt something you couldn't explain? Let us know in the comments below. We read all of them, and your stories help us choose where to investigate next. And get ready. And our next journey is taking us deep into the sweltering bayous of Louisiana to investigate a legend so feared, some locals refuse to even speak its name. You won't want to miss it.